Sitting Republican member of Congress about some of these matters and how he reacted to this speech. I should mention as way of introduction that President Obama did call explicitly again tonight in his speech for Congress to raise the minimum wage tonight. Here's how that sounded.
And everyone in this Congress who still refuses to raise the minimum wage, I say this. If you truly believe you could work full-time and support a family on less than $15,000 a year, try it. If not, vote to give millions of the hardest working people in America a raise.
Another generality. $15,000 a year. Another generality, Michael. The guy's all over the place. He's totally specific.
After the president said that very specific thing, our next guest tweeted this. Obama just claimed you can't raise a family on $7.25 an hour. Newsflash! That's a sarcastic all caps there. Newsflash! That's how you pronounce it. You can't do it on $10.10 an hour either. That was from Congressman Aaron Schock, Republican of Illinois, who joins us now. Congressman Schock, thank you so much for being here in person instead of just on Twitter. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel. Thanks for having me on. And the point really I'm trying to make is that artificially raising the cost of labor, whether it's from $7.25 to $10 an hour to $15 an hour, is not the way to raise people out of poverty and give them a living wage. I'm somebody who started out my career on minimum wage and slowly moved my way up the economic ladder. The fact of the matter is that the minimum wage has always been that in our country. It's been the starting wage. And the good thing is that most people on minimum wage are significantly younger than me. There are many first-time workers who are starting their careers, who are needing training on the job. And what we need to do here in Congress, really, in the federal government, is to do those agreements that the president talked about, do tax reform to make America more competitive, get the boot off the neck of the private sector of entrepreneurs and job creators, and incomes will rise and the economy will grow, and that's how people move up the economic ladder, not just artificially raising the cost of labor.
Congressman, if it was only trainees and teenagers who were making minimum wage, I think your argument would be one that would carry the day. I think part of the reason that raising the minimum wage is so popular across the country, even among Republicans when you poll on it, and everywhere it's on the ballot it wins, is because of the blank fact that it is actually, contrary to your tweet, easier to live on $10.10 an hour than it is to live on $7.25 an hour, and there isn't any economic quantitative evidence that raising the minimum wage has a negative impact on job growth.
And it's easier to live on $25 an hour, and it's easier to live on $30 an hour. So why don't we raise it to $50 an hour? The point is that the argument doesn't fit the logic that it's going to allow you to raise a family. This is the point I was making simply, that whether you're making $10 an hour in Peoria, Illinois, you don't have to be in New York City or Washington, D.C., where you folks live. If you live in Peoria, Illinois, and you're making $15 an hour or $10 an hour, you're not sustaining the family on that. And we need higher wages than minimum wage, and we need an economy that is creating more head of household jobs. And the fact of the matter is, right now in this economy, we have more unemployed adults at this period in our country's history than at any other time. And so that's what we need to be concerned about and work on that. And in a positive note, I'd like to say there are things in the president's speech where I think we can work on. And that's where I'm walking out of the chamber here tonight, is committed on finding those areas of common ground, and as a member of the majority here in the House, championing those areas of common ground. Tomorrow we meet with Ambassador Froman, the president's trade ambassador, because those trade agreements the president spent an enormous amount of time on that can level the playing field in those 11 Asian countries, 40% of the world's GDP. The president said it here tonight. 95% of the world's customers are outside our country's boundaries. The farmers in my district, the manufacturers in my district need access to those markets. It'll mean higher wages for the middle-class families in my district as a result. Infrastructure.
Let me ask you about those middle-class families in your district. The president tonight called for a tax credit of $3,000 for people per child, which has always seemed to me a relatively conservative argument, because you're basically encouraging child rearing, you're helping people raise families, and he's saying, I'll pay for that by going after the top 1%. He is very specific about that. How do you fight that argument with middle-class people? There are very few people, I'm assuming, in your district who are 1%ers. So how do you go to the non-1%ers and say, I can't stand this president's idea of shifting money to the people who make less than the top 1%? How do you win the argument in the street?
Chris,
with people?
because my voters don't believe in income redistribution, and that's what the president talked about here tonight. He didn't talk about lowering tax rates. He talked about raising taxes on higher income earners and giving money out to lower income earners. That's called income redistribution. That's not what my voters in my district voted for.
Wait a minute. I've never heard a Republican say a tax cut is giving people money. Those middle-class people earn the money. They may earn $30 or $50 a year. And if they get a $3,000 credit, that is not giving them money. That's giving them a tax relief. Why did you shift the vocabulary there? If you're giving somebody a tax break, are you saying that's giving them some money? Giving them money? I've never heard a Republican say that.
You're asking about how the president's proposing paying for tax cuts. And as you know, Democrats always make the argument that you have to pay for tax cuts. That's not an argument that Republicans make. We believe we should lower the rates on everyone through comprehensive tax reform. By the way, we're the only body, the House Republicans, I know you don't like to hear this.
No, I want to hear it.
We're the only body to put forward a tax proposal that fits the president's stated goal in his budget. The president, year in, year out, has said he wants to lower the corporate tax rate to 25% to keep American businesses from leaving.
I think a lot of people would like to see lower rates by plugging the loopholes.
The president has never put out a plan. Only House Republicans have put out a plan to do that. So those are the areas of common ground that we can work on to accomplish goals that the president has and that Congress has.
I'm just trying to listen carefully, Congressman, and I respect you and certainly your office, but you've called for a tax cut for the top 1% to go along with the tax child credit for $3,000 per person.
I didn't call for a tax cut.
You said you wanted across-the-board tax cuts.
I didn't call for a tax cut. You're putting words in my mouth.
No. What did you say? You said you wanted a same tax cut for everybody across the board.
No, what I said is we need to get rid of the loopholes and deductions in the code, and we need to lower the rate. We need to lower the rate. We need to lower the rate for everyone. So that means
you want to lower the rate for the top 1%. For everyone. You just said that again.
That's what you do when you get rid of loopholes and deductions in the code, is you drop the rate for everybody. So that's what the president says he wants to do, and that's what I'm saying that I want to do. The only difference is I've got a plan to do it.
I just heard a changing in the vocabulary because I've never heard a Republican say that giving somebody a tax break is giving them money when they started with the money by earning it. Anyway, it's a good argument. Well, anyway, Congressman, thank you for coming on. I hear your arguments.
I'm glad that you and I agree that people deserve tax cuts.
Well, thank you. That's very, very generous of you to let me have my money back. Thank you. That's a Republican value. Thank you for that.
Good to be with you.